Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and today I thought we'd have a quick look at my workbench. Now, I've not been making some videos for a week or two, and one of the main reasons is I was really unhappy with the way my workbench was. It wasn't a nice environment to work in. There was cables everywhere, it was messy and cluttered. So I thought I would spend some time, among other projects which I've got on which aren't related to what I do here, I thought I'd spend some time and see what I could do with tidying my workbench up. So, well, let's start with what you normally have seen on my other videos. This screen is what used to be actually on the side there, and as you can see, I've got some, it's actually bits of old kitchen unit. I've been refitting a kitchen in one of my properties, and I had some bits of old kitchen unit which I've cut up and I've made a back for over here, basically, where the screen used to be. I've made a back and a shelf. So my signal generator sits up there now with my little hot air rework station, which I don't use the signal generator very often now, perhaps maybe once a month, once every 2 months if I've got a radio got to fix. So it doesn't get a great deal of use, and I do have others actually, but it's the only one I have at this workshop. So I've kept it up there for the time being. That might end up getting got away with. I can find something smaller, perhaps transistorized, that'll do the same job. The little hot air rework station obviously is perfect, and it sits up there quite happily out of the way. One of my friends gave me these little drawers the other day. She was getting rid of them. She used to keep all her sewing stuff in them, but has since moved it to something else. So I've now got all my tools in them little drawers and little plastic drawers. Then we have the drawers that you've obviously seen before. I've just rearranged them, so I've got my power supply and my soldering iron now on this side of the bench. Obviously the screen which you've seen before, which used to be mounted up on the side, I've now got mounted right in front of my work area, which is a much more sensible solution. And above that, I've actually got a new, well, it's not a new screen, it's a screen that I had in my junk pile. It's a little widescreen VGA monitor which is connected up to my workshop PC, but it's a handy place to have it there. In fact, we'll go a bit further up, and if you can see, I don't know if you can notice that, but my bench is now all lit with LED tape. I had a load of this again left over from a job. I've not spent a penny on any of this. It's all leftovers and junk from my garage and leftovers from other jobs and stuff like that. So we've got a strip of that tape, and I've run that all around the top of my workbench, as you can see. It runs all the way around. It's a warm white, and with the white backing now to the bench, which means I can fit the screens on properly. It reflects quite nicely. It actually gives at least as much light, if not probably a little bit more light, than I had with the old two fluorescent strip lights which I used to use, which I had to get rid of because they worked fine and they always struck up, but the transformers started buzzing like crazy in them and they were really getting on my nerves. So I'm quite happy to replace it with that LED, plus it runs a lot cooler and a lot less power. Now the next thing I did was, if you notice here, we have 8 plug sockets, which I used to have an 8-gang screwed on that piece of wood there, and it worked, but everything on the bench was plugged into that, all the monitors and everything, and it was really crowded. I could never find a spare socket when I wanted it. So what I've done is I've actually got this up here. These are all socket plates out of my garage. Whenever I've replaced one for someone because I've put a chrome one in position or I've changed something for someone, I never throw these away. I always throw them in a cardboard box in my garage. Same with the back boxes, they all come off something where I had to replace plastic ones with metal for a project. So all that was just stuff that I had in my garage. It's much neater. It's not like this is a mains install. They're all basically just part of a 13 amp plug circuit. So you can just imagine them as a massive extension lead. So we've got 8 good accessible plug sockets there. But what I've done as well is, we'll just pan down a little bit. If we go to the bottom of my bench, we'll see there's my Workbench PC. It's just an old P4. I keep wanting something better than that. Well, not better. I want something that will really support a 2 floppy drives, a 1.44 mega and a 3.5 inch and a 5 1/4 inch. That will only support 1 floppy drive at a time. Apart from that, it does the job. But that's by the by. What I've done is that 8-way that used to be used on the top is now actually mounted under here with the computer, the monitors and everything like that plugged into it. And what I've done is there's a little under here now, there's a 20 amp, it's actually an old immersion heater switch, which I'm using as an isolator, so I can flick a switch under there and it kills everything. It kills all the computer, it kills anything that's on the bench, it kills literally, like I said, everything there is now off. And all I have to do is reach under there, flick a switch, and everything is back on. The reason I've done that, and I must admit I've done it, is a couple of times I've left the workshop, I've switched the computer off, I've switched the light off, I've left the soldering iron on. So now I've got one switch to flick and literally everything in the workshop just goes off. The computer, the soldering iron. I can't with that switch now leave anything on by accident. So yeah, I thought that was a nice addition. Like I say, all made with scrap parts. And the next thing I have done, we'll just pan over here, this is part of the bench you don't normally see, is I've actually got round to putting a new top on that part of the bench as well. It's got all my component drawers all back lined up there. That's just to make it neater. Now I had one disaster when I was doing that. I was shifting all them lot and one of the component drawers went over. And yeah, there's probably there's 1, 2, 3, they're 4 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's about 50 drawers there, something like that, and they went over and they went everywhere. I managed to get most of the components, fortunately fell in little piles, and I managed to get them back in the drawers, but it has left me with, they're all brand new components. It's left me with all that lot now to sort it back out and sort it back into their individual drawers, but hey ho. That's a fun job for a rainy afternoon, I suppose. And what I've also done is, I won't show it now, but the screen that used to live up there has now migrated up into my attic, and I've got it connected up to my little 486 computer up in the attic to replace a little black and white, I think it was a 7-inch SVJ monitor it was using. And I'm going to be using that quite recently because I've got a load of floppy drives, 5 1/4 and 3.5 inch from various sources, which I want to test and see if I can get working. So I've now got a nice little basic PC setup up in the attic, which I'll probably do another video on at a relevant time. Anyway, so I thought I'd just show you what I've been up to over the last week or two, sorting my workshop out. So I think I'll leave it at that. So thanks for watching and goodbye.